Hi, welcome to Home Farm. Today we're going to have a look at the Apple HomePod Mini.
So we recently upgraded some of our smart home tech products, which we get from Eve. We really like their products, and we also added some new ones as well, which is really cool. And in order for those to work and talk to each other, we needed to get a Apple HomePod. So we chose the Apple HomePod Mini. I do believe there was an Apple HomePod prior to this one, which is a much bigger one, which I think that they've phased out. But we never seen that before. So this is our first experience with HomePod. And I have to say, it's been rather awesome. I've absolutely loved it. First of all, it is so dinky and small and compact. It's brilliant. It just about goes on anywhere. I would say it's the same size as a tennis ball. And the power and the functionality that you have out of what is the same size as the tennis ball is absolutely incredible. It's so impressive. So we previously, just talking about it from a music perspective, we previously have, and we still do have, the Bose speakers. Now I know that speakers are almost like food. It's very personal preference as to what kind of sound quality you like. We had tried out a number of different brands prior, just tested some out. We tried like the Sonos ones. I think we tried a couple of other ones that I can't remember. And then we basically settled on the Bose speakers. We absolutely love the tones of the Bose speakers. It's very bassy, it's very rich, it's very deep sound. So I've got to say, when Mars was like, okay, we're going to get the HomePod Mini, and this is going to give you a really good sound. And I was thinking, okay, it's the same size as a tennis ball. Realistically, how loud and how good can the sound quality be? Obviously, I should have just realized that it's an Apple product, so it's going to probably be pretty awesome, which obviously it is. We absolutely love it, and the sound quality has been fantastic. So we've got the Bose SoundTouch 10s. We've got two of them in the living room. They were separated in different rooms, but now that we've got the HomePod Mini in the kitchen diner, so we've moved out one of the SoundTouch 10s and put both SoundTouch 10s into the living room. And what's really nice is because of the AirPlay on the HomePod Mini, we can still play music across all of them at the same time, which is really lovely because it almost gives you like a surround sound downstairs.
Totally. And the sound quality is just so rich because the Bose speakers, as we've said, are rich. The sound quality from this is just incredible.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can use Apple Music just to play your music throughout the house.
So nice.
It's pretty cool.
And the first thing I did was before we actually kind of connected them or synchronized them, I wanted to play something on the Bose SoundTouch 10s and then immediately play it on the Apple HomePod, like a really just, we could listen to
Comparison,
it and compare. And we chose some really kind of like 1980s tracks. We're so old. So we chose like a Phil Collins, like real kind of drums, kind of like and then we played a bit of classical, really dramatic music so that we could really hear the different tones. And I honestly can say that the Apple HomePod Mini really stood up to the Bose speakers. So if you've got Bose speakers and you love that kind of sound quality, I really think that there's a good chance that you're going to love the kind of sound quality that you get out of this one.
Despite me being a geek, I really don't actually know a lot about speakers, but from limited reading that I actually looked at is that the technology that Apple have put into this HomePod to create the actual sound quality appears in very high-end kind of Bang & Olufsen type speakers.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're getting that with the intelligence of a smart speaker and quality audio for, I think, £80 or £90.
£89 this was retailing at when we saw it online on the Apple Store. Then they also had a bundle, so two for slightly less than that. I think it was like 175, something like that, pounds. So by the time you're watching this video, I'm not entirely sure how much it's going to be, but time of recording, that's what it was. And that, in comparison to our Bose speakers, the Bose SoundTouch 10s were, I think, a few years ago, they were like £250.
They're quite pricey.
I think that they're still retailing at like 220, something at that kind of price point for one speaker. And then obviously all that does, it acts as a speaker. It just chucks out sound. So with the Apple HomePod, the fact that you're getting the Siri, the Thread, all those other things that you get with it, and the controls and the smart home tech stuff that Mars will talk about now, and the sound as well for music is really, really fantastic. I also really am excited about the fact that having multiple of these across your home, if you've got a house like ours is a long farmhouse, so and different levels, so when one person's at one end of the house and then the other person's at the other end, even though we're long and narrow, you kind of have to really scream in a very undignified way to try and get the other person's attention. So what's really nice about the HomePods is that you can actually set them up as an intercom system. So have one in kind of your main kitchen dining area, and then you can have one like even multiple. If you like, for example, on a 3-story, 4-story property, maybe you've got like a townhouse or something, or a Victorian property. So you want to actually have another HomePod up in the bedroom so that you can actually then speak to each other. That's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to trying that out and using that function.
And the intercom function obviously extends beyond just having the HomePods. That basically acts as the little nerve sensor in order for you to be able to, ping somebody else that's on the network on their phone. So you can actually, get somebody's attention without either having to yell, as you said, or actually physically phone call them.
So despite us being a very smart, techie household and you being very geeky, we have yet to be to buy into the kind of Alexa, kind of those kind of stations that you get.
The voice command.
Yeah, so the control stations that you get, and a lot. I know that the majority of people have now got kind of things, the Alexas, I think the Amazon one,
Google Assistant,
yeah,
a big one, yeah.
We have never actually bought into those. We never really felt that we had a need for it, and we weren't really into it. And I have to say, I am starting to use, and I'm going to say Hey Siri, and he's now going to start talking to us, but I am starting to actually use the Hey Siri more than I ever did with my phone. I don't really use the Hey Siri on my phone at all. I suppose, I don't know if I'm old school or what, but I just type in what I need. I dictate a lot, but I don't actually ask questions. I just kind of tend to Google stuff that I need to know. But I'm actually using the Hey Siri function a lot more on this than I ever have on my actual phone. And I just find it really cool when I can walk into the kitchen and just say, Hey Siri, what's the temperature outside? And you can decide which coat you're going to wear or how many scarves or layers or whatever you're going to put on. Hey Siri, how windy is it? This morning I walked in and tried something new. I said, Hey Siri, tell me the headlines. I didn't want to put the TV on. I just wanted a quick top headline so that while I was making up a tea. And I thought it was really cool because it immediately plugged into, I think it was the BBC News.
Yeah, one of the BBC services.
Presumably it would be like a local station to you, but it plugged into us the BBC News, and it just read off the headlines. It was the BBC News presenter, I think, on the radio station or something, and they just read off the headlines, and then Siri or the Apple HomePod just switched it off. So it literally let it play for the headlines, and then it switched it off. And I just thought that was quite
cool.
convenient.
It was cool.
For me, it was easier than going and turning the TV on and then remember to turn the TV off and leaving the room. And, so just to be able to make up a tea, hear the headlines, and then just forget about it and walk away, I thought it was quite handy. I'm kind of interested to know what everybody else uses it for.
Yeah, exactly. If you're using, your commands for, cooler things that haven't maybe crossed our minds or others, leave a comment below, because I think that is, you're right. I think that the Siri command on the actual iPhone was a bit gimmicky, because I didn't tend to, and I'd like to get into stuff like that. I never really found a purpose for it, but it is far better now, I think, for us to be able to control things from the HomePod, but even inside the house, giving commands to actually turn lights on. I've spent a lot of time configuring our home kits to give things specific names. So hopefully that will allow us to turn the light on in the TV room or in the hallway or something like that.
The only thing I would say as a comment is that if you ask like the HomePod to play something for you, so maybe you can have 2 options, I think, or maybe 3, I suppose, if you've got a laptop and iPad, but you can either go to your device like your laptop or your phone, and you can go to Apple Music, for example, play the track that you want, set the volume, and then hit AirPlay and it'll play it, and then you just select your HomePod. Or you can not do that, and you can just walk into the room and say, Hey Siri, play Adele or something, and it's going to start blaring it out. The one thing that I have found, I think I saw it on Apple's website, was that you still have a voice control no matter how loud the music gets. I found that to be a little bit shaky. So one time we did have it set quite loud when we were like really trying to see what the kind of music quality was going to be like. And I did find I was shouting over the music to say, hey, can you turn the volume down? I didn't find it to be that particularly responsive. And I definitely did have to try and shout and compete with the music, which I thought was a bit of a downer. I don't think I'll use it like that because I feel like you kind of lose control because you don't actually know what it's going to play next, or you can't, there's no visual. It's literally just there and playing. So I actually prefer to play it off a device where I can actually physically see what's coming up next, what I can select, I can actually see the volume levels and set them. Though there is the plus and minus on the top of it, so you can just, if you walk past, you can just press it, and that is very responsive and very, very touch friendly. So that is fine, but I'm not really, I don't know if I'm not using it correctly or if other people use it more intelligently, but let me know if you actually play music from off the just voice command, how you do that without screaming over the music and competing with them.
And on the Apple Music side of things, I don't have an Apple Music paid account, and I set this up on my account through HomeKit. But it's quite clever because Kirsten is obviously invited onto our HomeKit, and it gives you the option of she's got a paid Apple Music account. So we've configured that to work with the HomePod Mini. So, if you do give the instruction vocally to play music, it will play music because we have got an account.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's maybe no control as to what's going to play next or something along those lines.
So as we mentioned earlier in the video, the main reason why this has been introduced to the home is because we were using and upgrading some of our Eve Smart products. If you want to check out those reviews, if you're interested in Eve Smart products or any home smart products, check out those videos. We'll link them above. Because we've reviewed quite a number of products recently that are brand new onto market. And one of those features of those products is Thread, which is what this comes with.
So basically, Apple call the HomePod Mini the border router. It's just a technical term for basically a hub for people that are still familiar with Wi-Fi type stuff. You can almost parallel that to being a hub, even though it strictly speaking isn't. And it basically is the nerve sensor for your whole Thread network. It's either that or an Apple 4K TV. We've got other Apple TVs, which, it wasn't sensible for us to get that, so we went down the actual HomePod route. Once that's installed and you start adding other Thread-enabled devices, it starts to just magically by itself creating a network that allows all of your smart home devices to communicate with one another.
Just to be clear, for those of you who've never heard of Thread, Thread is not an Apple product. It's not an Apple software. It is basically to be thought of as like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Thread. And so it's basically being introduced as the latest technology to come in and hopefully maybe phase out Bluetooth, I'm guessing, in the years to come.
Yeah, I think if enough people have adopted it and, you've got enough devices that actually take over the Bluetooth functionality. But, if for whatever reason, maybe you've only got one or two Thread devices and your network does collapse, Bluetooth is the fallback position, so you can still walk into that room and communicate with your device. So basically this almost supersedes and builds up on top of Bluetooth, giving it kind of the Bluetooth energy saving perspective, but just making it far more responsive and quicker.
What was so awesome about Thread is what you were explaining on one of our earlier videos today, is that Thread, unlike Wi-Fi, with Wi-Fi, the more devices you add to your Wi-Fi network, potentially the weaker the signal gets, the more issues you kind of have.
It slows down more than anything else.
Whereas with Thread, it's kind of the opposite. So the more Thread devices that you bring into your home and add to it, the stronger and more intelligent it actually gets. And it just really works across. It doesn't work as a daisy chain, it works as a mesh, and everything speaks to each other, and it's constantly doing something in the background, bouncing off each other, and improving and optimizing those networks and those connections, which is really clever.
We've referred to it as a mesh. Actually, the kind of more that I think about it, it's almost like neurons. You've got tons of little kind of touch points across your actual network. And what I really like about it is that it's self-healing. So what I mean by that is that we've installed loads of smart TRVs now, some plugs, various devices that run on Thread. It almost starts to span out, and if one of them goes down, it basically finds an alternate route to still reconnect that network. We're probably going to get a couple of extra HomePod Minis because we do love them so much. What's really clever is that if for whatever reason something happens, we've got a hallway that's got very thick bricks. And so if the communication signal can't get through, it'll basically create a second thread network on the other side of the house. So you've still got that thread functionality. And if for whatever reason the signal strengthens, maybe we add something else, it basically just, comes back together and forms one network again. And the fact that it just does this without you even know that it's doing it is something that's so appealing, because with Wi-Fi you can literally pull your hair out sometimes, because you've got so many variables and controls, and you can tweak this, tweak that. We found absolutely zero controls and everything just works flawlessly.
Yeah, that is something that's worth touching on, is that you were saying to me earlier that it doesn't have any settings. You're constantly fiddling and changing something, because Thread actually is intelligent enough it doesn't want you interfering with it. So it does not want you changing settings or trying to optimize it. It does it itself, which is really cool and really clever. And for someone like me, I know you're a geek and you're just blown away by this, but for me, I'm not really that much of a geek. I'm not into that kind of thing. I just want to plug something in and I want it to work. So Thread sounds to me like my ideal kind of network solution. I just kind of love the fact that it's getting stronger, it's more intelligent, it's constantly finding, it's probably problem solving all the time, troubleshooting itself and sorting it out. I just love that. So I think if you're in the market for a decent speaker, multiple speakers, surround sound, something that is really going to tuck in anywhere. This is so small and compact. Our Bose SoundTouch speakers are pretty big and chunky, and they really do sit on a shelf or on a tabletop surface. You've kind of got to move stuff around and find a space for it. With this, I mean, it's just a tennis ball. I mean, you can just pop it anywhere. It's fantastic. As long as you've got access to a plug, it's just really gonna fit in so many spaces. I really think that it's great. I think if you're looking at venturing into smart home tech solutions for the first time, definitely recommend this. And again, for like the intercom, I just think it's really cool. It comes in lots of different colors, which again, I appreciate. We've got the white one for the kitchen area. We'll probably get some black ones for other areas where we know they're going onto dark surfaces. But I mean, again, just another solid product from Apple.
And if you've got a large room, you can actually put two HomePod minis in the same room at opposite ends and actually get them to play in stereo.
Nice.
So there is quite a lot of stuff that you can actually do with them.
Yeah, I really appreciate that kind of almost flexibility of this product. The fact that you can, take them out and put them into, for example, a living room or a TV room, media room, and then have them for that kind of surround sound stereo experience. And then, for example, a year down the line and you change and that room changes and maybe it changes into an office or something, you don't need that setup. To be able to just unplug them and then separate them and use them at different ends of the room for different things, that's really, really convenient. And I think that, thank goodness, the days of kind of the 1980s where we had cables running all over our living rooms, we have massive speakers, we have the 5-point speaker system that was just, oh my goodness, I'm so glad those days are over.
If you're thinking about getting into a smart home, especially a one for the future where you can start to fall back on Thread, and Thread, as we've said in other videos, is going to be the pillar to a new technology called Matter. So if you are into smart home stuff, I do think that the HomePod is going to be that central point for you, which is going to accomplish that and deliver great sound at the same time.
So overall, I already have recommended it to friends and family, and will continue to do so. I'm really impressed with it. I'm very, very much looking forward to using the intercom system. I think that's going to be really cool. In fact, if we do it and we've tested it out, we'll probably leave a comment and that we'll just update or put a comment into our description or comments below, just saying that's what we did and how easy and good and reliable it was to use. But other than that, I think that I would definitely recommend it.
1000%.
So I hope you found this video useful and interesting. If you did, please subscribe, ring the bell, show us some support, give us a thumbs up, and we hope to see you on our next video. Thanks for watching and take care. Bye-bye.